I'm Auntie T from the Butter Cookie Company, and welcome to my kitchen. Well, today I have accepted a challenge to use my Butter Cookie, Butter Bliss that is, in a homemade banana pudding recipe. Well, let me tell you, I am not a banana pudding connoisseur, but I am always up for a challenge. So let's see what happens. So here's what you need for your little miniature grocery list. Now, I myself am what you would call a food snob, okay? So I decided to get this cooktop pudding. It has a lot of whole ingredients, okay? So compared to the other brands. But of course, you use whatever brand of pudding you want to use. Now, with a cooktop pudding, you are gonna need some eggs and you're gonna need some milk, okay? So this is the brand I decided to use. So feel free, like I said, to use any brand you want. Now, the next thing you're gonna need, of course, are bananas, okay? Like I said, I'm a snob, these are organic. And then I have my Butter Bliss cookies. So these are very delicious. I think they're gonna make a great banana pudding. And also, now, I am not one to use the Cool Whip, but I am gonna show you how you can make your own whipped topping. So we're gonna take some of this whipped topping, put it in the pudding and make it super delightful and rich, and we're gonna use some for topping. And that is gonna be a very simple pudding, and that's all the ingredients that you need. So you're gonna take 2 pints of heavy whipping cream and we're gonna whip them up at the same time. Now, even though it has a little tab for you to open here, I had to open up the old-fashioned way because I simply could not get it off. So let's go ahead and pour this in. And I want you to know, I think you really only need to beat this for about 3 minutes, because if you beat it any longer, you'll have butter. Yes, you can make your own butter. Now at the Butter Cookie Company, I would love to take the time to make my own butter, but we just don't have that kind of time today. And we're gonna let that whip for 3 minutes. So we'll come back to you. All right, it looks like we've reached the right consistency. Now, I took the liberty of adding 4 tablespoons of confectionery sugar, but you can also use granulated sugar too, and you can also add in a tablespoon of vanilla. This looks really good, everybody. So we're gonna take it off here. Yeah, that looks nice consistency. Look at that, looks just like Cool Whip, doesn't take any time, and you know what's in it. I love that. Okay, now we've got my pudding and we've got this. So I'm gonna go ahead, scoop some of this out, and I'm gonna use some of it for topping, and then we're gonna mix some in with the pudding. So we're just making a small pudding, but banana pudding is like apparently something that they say was created in the South, but really no one knows like where it was created at. And definitely for the South, it's such a good thing to do, because apparently the South, when they do stuff, they do it really big. So this is great for family get-togethers. You can make so much of it at one time, but we're just gonna do a small one. And so you're just gonna mix that in there, make your pudding nice and light and delicious and fluffy. And this is gonna turn out great. And this is a no-bake recipe, so you can just put it in the refrigerator, let it chill, eat it right now. So now the next step is to layer the cookies. All right, now if you're gonna use the Butter Cookie brand, the Blissful cookies, Butter Bliss is what you wanna use, and you wanna have at least a large jar. This jar smells so good. You can smell the butter, the vanilla. Oh, I love it. Another thing that's really interesting that I learned while I was doing my research about banana pudding was that apparently back in the 1870s is when bananas came to the United States, and it was considered an exotic fruit. So naturally, people had to figure out what to do with this exotic fruit. And one of those things was banana pudding. All right, so it looks like I think I got enough cookies here. Now, I've seen some recipes that use, of course, vanilla wafers and chessmen cookies, but I was challenged with using the Butter Bliss cookies, and this is really, you know, I'm not trying to be biased, but I think these Butter Bliss cookies are really gonna set this banana pudding off. All right. So I'm gonna put the pudding on here, and then I'm gonna do my bananas, but you can do it however you want. Sure, it looks good. Take a banana. Now you want to use a ripe banana, but this is what I had today. Funny story is, I went shopping for my banana pudding recipe and realized that for today's shooting, I didn't have not one banana in the house. So I had to go to town and go get a banana. And if you live where I live, going into town is quite an ordeal. Now, another thing I learned too in my research was that instant pudding was created in the 1940s. So, like I said, you can either make your own pudding. A lot of recipes use flour or either it uses cornstarch, but I decided to get a box pudding and it actually uses cornstarch for the base of it. And of course, Madagascar vanilla, which is really good. But the ingredients in the box pudding I use is very simple, just as if I was going to make it myself. They have a nice vanilla taste to them, but the butter is what you're really going to taste when you bite into these cookies. A lot of people say it reminds them of their grandmother's tea cakes. And it is my mother's recipe, and I'm sure she probably got it from her grandmother, who is a really good cook. Now, although my mom, she's not a super great cook, but she does know how to make a good sweet treat. All right, I'm gonna use a couple more bananas, and then I think we'll be ready to garnish. But also, too, another thing that I learned while I was watching a video, and there was a lady called Miss Laura, and she actually submitted a recipe to Nabisco, which their full name is the National Biscuit Company. Who knew? I always thought it was just Nabisco. But to the Nella wafers, and around about a little bit after the 1940s, they started to put her recipe on their box. And so it became all the rage because a lot of times people used to make banana pudding with like lady fingers. They also use like sponge cake, but it became very popular to use the recipe, use Nella wafers in the recipe. So I thought that was like a really interesting tidbit. All right, so got nice clean hands, and so I'm going to take some of these Butter Bliss cookies and I'm going to crumble them. And then I'm going to take some, I'm just going to place them around like a little decoration. All right, I think that looks very pretty. I think I was up for the challenge. Okay, so here's what we've come up with. Well, I really enjoyed doing this banana pudding challenge. Now, if any of you have any more challenges for me, either using my Butter Bliss cookies or my pure butter homemade chocolate chip cookies, then write them down in the comments and I'll be happy to take on that challenge because I think this one is a winner. But of course, you can't have a banana pudding like know if you won the contest unless you taste it. So let's see what it tastes like. Give myself a little dollop here. Make sure I get, of course, the Butter Bliss cookie. All right, let's see what we got. My cookie's really crispy. That's why I like it so much. Wow, this is really good. Very delightful. I love the crisp of the cookie. The pudding is like so rich, so smooth, and so vanilla-y. This is where it's at, guys. You have got to try this recipe. Hey, until next time, this is Auntie T with the Better Butter Cookie Company. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!